So this is episode 1 of the Fear series, and we are going to talk about racism today. So here's the thing. I am a Caucasian female. So obviously, as I'm growing, I only know from my own perspective. So if you are a person of color, if you are a minority, and you have a different opinion and you've experienced this in a different way, I would love to hear from you and know if there are things that I'm saying that are just like, are any white privilege kind of garbage. All I can do is operate from my perspective, so I would love to hear yours. So recently, I made friends with this guy, and after I was not attracted to him at all. We were friends, we were having fun, and then after a while, he started to drive me insane. Like, he was very kind of socially selfish and really hard to be around. And everything that he was doing was driving me crazy. So I remember talking to my therapist and saying, what happened? I feel like a terrible person because everything from the way he chews to the way, like every little thing about him is driving me crazy. And what she said was, Marla, what happens neurologically on like an evolutionary level is that as soon as you stop feeling safe with someone, as soon as you start feeling somewhat threatened by someone, you have this kind of, your lizard brain starts to find things about them very irritating as a way of kind of pushing you away from them and making you safe because there's something about them that is now a threat to you. Okay. So I thought, okay, I totally get that because we had an argument and I'd seen this side of him that I was like, yikes. And from then on, more and more and more things would kind of make me cringe. So I thought about this in a broader context. We all have people and groups of people in the world that kind of drive us crazy. If you say you don't, you're a liar. So whatever it is, some people group is annoying to you. Some people group may even piss you off. And they do something or they act in a way that you think is rude or, inconsiderate. And when you think about it, if you were to think about it, if someone from my group, my kind of village of humans, did exactly the same thing, would it drive me insane and enrage me in the same way? The answer is probably not. Because there is something about that people group that you feel threatened by. So maybe they are more financially stable than you. Maybe you feel like physically they're more threatening than you, or they're more desirable than you, or something about the real estate that they are taking up in the world is taking away from what you believe actually would help you build worthiness in the world yourself. So when we think about in the US right now, the whole immigrant thing and like how some American politicians talk about like Mexicans and how they are raising their kids, not they as in all Americans, but they as in these specific people are raising their kids to feel like these people groups, these people are a threat to them. That is how we pass racism down. Because when a baby is born, it doesn't look across the street and go like, I see you, you don't look like me, I hate your guts, right? Instead, we teach kids from a young age, those people are a threat. Those people are taking our jobs. Those people have more money than us and are taking all of the real estate in the city. Those people, are getting free handouts from the government. Whatever it is, we teach our children that they are a threat. And that is how, neurologically, things start to annoy you. And you start to see poor behaviors in this people group much more than you would in your own. I am not saying that maybe there isn't a pattern where, this specific people group maybe does those things more, but maybe not. You bought a new car today. You bought a Hyundai Sonata. Okay. There is not more Hyundai Sonatas on the street today than there was yesterday, right? But you're gonna start seeing that car everywhere you go. Just like if you're looking for a certain people group that is a threat to you to do a certain behavior that drives you crazy, you're going to see it, right? So can you go, stop? as soon as you have in your head that's like stupid, blah, 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 can you say, stop. Why do I feel threatened? What is the fear that is underlying this anger? And if someone that I know, that I trust, that I feel safe with, did exactly the same thing, how would I feel? How would I feel differently than this person doing this? Would I give them grace? And would I be able to come from a spirit of abundance and love instead of from a place of fear, right? Marianne Williamson says every single time we go into the world, all of our choices are either from a place of fear or a place of power and love. So love and abundance or fear and scarcity. So what I'm going to ask you to do this week is when you see someone from the people group, whomever they are, that drive you crazy, look for them to do something nice or lovely, or look for something positive about them. And when you find it, because they're human beings, so they have something lovely to show you, can you sit in that reality? Can you sit in the reality of the positive and help yourself to build a new neurological bridge of love in your brains? Because every time you have that negative experience with a certain racial group or a certain people group, you are building a pathway that is more and more and more and more pronounced in your brain, right? And so every time that a positive thing happens, what I'm gonna ask of you, and what I am trying to do in my life to varying levels of success, but we're working on it, is to say, stop. Be with this positivity and allow your brain to create a real nice new pathway for the positivity. Because it really has very little to do with those people. It's everything to do with our internal fear system. So can we learn in these moments to self-evaluate and go, why am I feeling afraid? What is this threat? Is it real? So that then we can humanize one another instead of coming from this place of lack. Realizing that everybody's just doing the best they can. And maybe they don't know your custom, or maybe they're different from you, but you are really judging them on a level that may not be fair because you're coming from a place of lack and fear instead of love and power. So think about the old lady that cuts in front of you from some other culture. And if some little old lady that looks like you did that, how would you react differently? Something to evaluate. We all have our shit in this way. And so as much as like you can be like, you're admitting, no, I'm admitting that I am a human being and I operate from a place of fear sometimes. And I catch myself and I go, shit, what am I doing? Where is this coming from? You know? And I want to evaluate it. And that relationship that I had, that friendship that I had with that guy who drove me crazy, and I felt like such a bad person because I was so angry all the time, and that wasn't like me. It really kind of was like a light bulb in my head that was like, oh, my therapist kind of illuminated this whole thing. Fear brings racism. Fear brings homophobia. If you have, you know, an internal whatever with the LGBTQ plus community, brings sexism, right? All of this bigotry comes from fear. We know this, but that's the science behind it. So can you give yourself a moment to make a new neural pathway so that you can kind of rewire your brain? Because we're not monkeys, we are human beings. So let's prove it and humanize one another because we need more love in the world. All right. We're going to keep going on this fear series. Next is going to be finances and generosity and all that crap. So subscribe, ring the little bell, like, whatever, all that crap that people say. I'll be back with the next episode very soon. Thanks.